What's going on, people? I was watching this little counter thing. It was saying live and it wasn't doing anything. So I'm waiting for it to like actually start showing some numbers, like to show you how long you've been sitting down talking or whatever. Took a little longer than it normally takes. So I don't know what was going on with that, but whatever. Here we are. Got some shoes to talk about, right? Haven't done that in a little bit. Been doing a lot of card stuff lately, and there's some more of that coming. So if you're not a fan of that, well, too bad. It's happening, right? Because some of us are out here trying to complete sets of things or whatever, and we're sharing the journey with the world, right? You don't have to watch it. Anyway, so here's the thing. I'm going to start with this knife over here, open up some boxes. Actually, this first one is already open because I haven't looked at it, right? But I don't know, there's something going on that day, and I was like, hey, can you put this order in for me? I said it to a friend of mine, the guy that I also buy cards and comics with, So he took care of it, and, then I was like, yeah, I'll pay you back tomorrow. Just let me know what it costs. And so then he got the order in. I was having some kind of problem with like getting my asics accounts getting in order or something. I don't know. So they shipped it in this bag, which I'm not a huge fan of, honestly. So there's that. Also, when they ship things in bags, they often put all this order information on the top of the box. Not a fan of that either. So if you're going to buy something from asics, maybe, and you don't want it shipped in a bag, buy two things, I guess, and then they'll put it in a box. Anyway, so let's go ahead and open this thing up, right? See what's going on the camera long enough. This is the Novablast 5 in the Luxe colorway, right? Which is one of the newer ones. These are backwards. Let's switch hands here. Which is one of the newer ones. Newer as in it got really slow. I'm not sure what's going on there. Let me pause this background thing. Yeah, not really sure what was going on there, but it got really slow and laggy all of a sudden. Kind of give it a minute to see if it actually kind of settles out. Usually, like, the network connection is fine. I don't know what the deal is. Let me take 1 second here to turn something off. It looks like it's fine now, but 1 second. Let me take care of something over here. Just kind of, I don't know if there was anything going on in the room there. Shouldn't be, but I'm just going to turn that off. So there's that. All right, now I can get back to doing this, right? So yeah, this is one of the newer colors for a newer model. I have the other three over here, the other two to make up the whole pack, so you'll see all three of them or whatever. But it's the Novablast 5. I can tell you this right now, as far as the wearing goes for the Novablast series, right? They're very lightweight. They feel very speedy. They got an extra little bounce in there, right? This time around, they went with the Flight Foam Blast Max. So that's a pretty cool addition, kind of like the Glide Ride Max, right? So they got that going on. And I did try these out several months. Well, they just came out last month. So I guess last month I tried these out, different colorway and all that stuff. Worked out fine, right? So everything that I remembered from the 3 still translates over to the 5. It's still not like one of my favorite things, right? I got no problems with them. I have my 3s. I've run in those a good number of times, right? Sometimes it makes sense to break these out. Personally, like, I usually wear whatever I'm running in, like, through the day and then run in the afternoon or something. So that's kind of where I'm not a huge fan of these, because I don't like walking around in them a whole lot. They're comfortable. Can't say they aren't. It's more just that extra bounce in there. Not a huge fan. Anyways, let's take a look at them. Down there across the bottom, that's what things are looking like. Kind of a trampoline-inspired outsole, right? It's what they say on the website anyway. So there you go. There's that. Midsole-wise, looks very much like it did the last 2 years. Those are the only ones that I can remember seeing, the 3 and the 4. They just switch up the design back here a little bit, give you this broken glass sort of appearance. And then as far as the upper goes, it is going to be a mesh sort of deal going on there. They took it, kind of re-engineered it from the last year to this year, well, from 2023 to 2024. It's supposed to be lighter, more breathable. I can't really compare anything because I don't have a pair of the Novablast 4s. So all I can go by is what they say, right? So it's supposed to be lighter and more breathable. Standard style on the side for the asics logo for the most part, but this time around, instead of like the lines in the stitching, they went with this overlay, kind of like the Platinum Kayano 31, and you're going to see that on both sides. Switching back over to the front here real quick, got the Novablast 5, and that was on the blue pair that I have as well, which is not close enough for me to show you. It's, where is that? Anyway, so because I feel like it's supposed to be right here. Actually, no, it's not. That's a different video. It is over there. So anyways, yeah, got the standard logo stuff going on. Super thin tongue, right? Has a little slit at the top piece, so that way it kind of sticks in like where your foot is, doesn't slide around too much. Very nice in that way. Little asics logo in there and on the other one. So there's that, right? And as far as the sizing goes, since I've worn these before, I'll tell you, I bought true to size. It's working out fine for me. I got no complaints about them. I'll slip them on anyway, though, real quick, just to get something of a reminder here. I did switch socks to my like running socks before doing this because everything that I'm about to open here is a running shoe. So yeah, these, the comfort wise, or excuse me, the fit wise, really good, right? It doesn't feel like there's too much room. It is just feel a little bit loose in some ways, right? But not like too roomy. I feel like it's like the right amount of extra space if you're going to have extra space. It's not as snug as say like the not Hyperions. Well, yeah, the Hyperions or the what was that thing from Adidas? The Supernova Rise, same thing. You know, so it's not super roomy or whatever, but it's still somewhat narrow-ish. So you might want to go try these on before you buy them, right? Because it's not a huge build or whatever. You don't have like, to me, you don't have like a whole lot of room in there. So if you're a person that feels like you need a whole lot of room in there, true to size may not work out for you. But the novablast 5 has been, I've seen it personally in like every running shoe store that I've gone to. I mean, that's actual running shoe stores, right? Not like Foot Lockers and stuff like that. Those are whatever. So you should find them around wherever you live, I would imagine. And then you can go online and get like hopefully a good deal on whatever color you actually want. Because, you know, colors in stores can be a little lacking, right? So up next, what is this one? There's that. Okay, and this is the Nimbus 27, right? I'm doing these unboxings in the order that I bought them in, so that way when I do these reviews, it's already kind of like locked in my head. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of a dry run for me. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, let's move along here. Get this thing opened up. So much like the last pair, this is the luxe colorway. This is going to be the Nimbus 27. The Nimbus 27 came out on the 10th of this month, so about 13 days ago. So it's one of the, I guess it is their newest running shoe at this point then, from Asics, that is. Down there across the bottom, that just makes this thing look wide, you know, like just like big. A lot of the reason that they do like the wide stuff down there is like to give you more stability as far as like the side to side thing. It does end up making it just look kind of orthopedic, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it is what it is. That's the outsole. Midsole wise, kind of the same thing as you've seen on the last few years of these. They've gone away from like the nice streamlined look with like the visible gel. Now it just looks big and bulky and kind of dumb, honestly, but I can't argue with like the results, right? Everything that they put into this, it makes sense. I get it. Like I said before, I just don't really like it. But you know, I was getting the Nimbus, the novablast, and I knew I was getting the Kayano, so I figured I might as well get the Nimbus as well, right? So I got all three. Anyways, right? From the Luxe pack, that is. So moving on past that, looking at I'll give you a little shot in there, like the pure gel. The foam that they use is going to be the Flight Foam Blast Plus Eco, right? Yeah. Yeah, so it's the same foam that they used over the last couple years on the Nimbus 27. So don't expect anything like mind-blowing. Supposedly it should be better. Like, you know, usually they kind of retool things just a little bit, but it's not like a new version of the foam or anything like that. So don't expect anything new, exactly. So anyways, moving on to the upper here, because I haven't really seen this for myself. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Got a little bit of labeling down here. That's kind of a new thing. That's usually on the back end somewhere. This time they don't have anything back there. It just says pure gel. And as far as the rest of the mesh goes, that's sort of similar to the novablast here, but just a different design, you know. And I kind of wish I had a standard Nimbus 27 right now to give you like some sort of comparison. But usually when it comes to like the platinums or the luxes or the light shows are a little different. the platinums and the luxes here. The only difference is just the colorway, and usually they'll switch up something with like some of the decals and all that stuff. But the build itself is all the same. You're just spending an extra $20 so it can look a little different. Anyway, so looking at that, everything that you saw on the Novablast mostly happening again over here as far as color and all that stuff goes. So if you didn't like it on there, you won't like it on here. On the tongue, a little different. This time around, you have more of like the actual mesh material, even on to the upper, same thing. Very stretchy though. I don't know if you were aware of that. And even down here, like that's very stretchy as well. So I do kind of prefer this tongue personally. And I do like the inside as well, just the way they did that where the pull tab kind of goes into the sock liner. Just like a cool look in there. No, it's not really showing up so great here. And this the pull tab here just to kind of help getting the shoe on a little bit easier. It's a little easier to work with than this one right here. That's just kind of like this little tab there because it's stretchy and it kind of helps. But anyways, past that, little asics logo going on down in there, same as on the other one. So there's that for you. Now I'm going to slip these things on real quick, tell you what I think of them. But one thing I will say, when it comes to like the Novablast and the Nimbus, personally, right, to me they're kind of like neck and neck as far as like things that I feel like the average person would want. Like if you're wearing an Asics shoe, you're looking, or if you want an Asics shoe and you're going to be running, I feel like those are the two that I would probably recommend most to people because they have the extra cushion in there. The Novablast is lighter and it feels faster. This is more comfortable, though it does feel a little heavier, right? And that's kind of comes down to like, what do you want to do, like as far as like your running experience or whatever. But to me, like that's a little bit of the difference there. These do feel like they're a bit more durable overall, like the upper and the outsole, everything about them, it just feels more durable, like they're going to last longer. I can't say anything about that personally because, again, I have a lot of shoes to work with. So I haven't really run anything into the ground since like 2005, right? So it is what it is. But anyways, sizing-wise, the true to size is working out fine for me. I've got no complaints with this. So got it on. It's width-wise, feels, again, kind of like the Novablast 5 did. So that's cool. Length-wise, the toe, it is kind of like almost right at the end. Not a huge deal breaker to me. So I got no complaints about that. I'll have to talk about the actual wearing them, like the comfort-wise, a little bit later. But just personally wise, like I've never really been a big fan of the extra cushion that they have in some of these because I do prefer stability that you see in like more like the Kayano series. It's not bad. It's not uncomfortable. I definitely won't say it's uncomfortable. It's just that not everybody wants that, right? And I'm one of those people that doesn't want that. But I have pairs of the Nimbus, right? And they stay in the running rotation because sometimes it makes sense. If I know I'm going to be going a little longer and a little slower, right? Which sometimes goes hand in hand. It can be good to have one of these, right? Because it gives you that extra cushion, takes some stress off your knees or whatever. It's not a bad deal. Personally, though, like walking around in them, that's where things kind of start to get switched up just a wee bit. So take that, do whatever you want to with it. What is this? Okay. I also bought some socks for some reason. I'm not sure what I was going through in that moment. This might have been one of those nighttime impulse buys. I do a lot of that, more than I should. Anybody can relate to that out there? Anyways, I just bought this Magic comic the other day, like Magik, Magic, like the girl, what's her name? Colossus' sister, Ileana, right? Rasputin? Either way, yeah. And that thing set me back in like the triple digits, right? And I was like, what am I doing? So yeah, picked up some socks, those are more like exercise socks, right? Not like running ones. They're a little thicker, a little more cushion, right? Not like normal compression ones. These are a little bit more on that side, right? So, sometimes I like to break out things that are kind of branded to match like whatever it is I'm wearing. So it's just one of those things that I do for no real reason other than that it's an option. So why not? And this weekend, there is a little Asics event going on. They're going to be demoing the Nimbus 27. So I'll be doing that. I mean, I already have my own pair, so that's cool. And then these are like a mix between the two. Like they're thin, but they're not like compression socks. They're just lightweight. Okay, so yeah, so I'll be out there doing that. It's cool though, you know. To me, it's more just like going and hanging out with people, because I usually don't try out the shoes that they have at these trials. Like I talk to you guys like you watch all this crap. So a couple months ago, I try not to, but it usually happens. A couple months ago, went out to the Nike thing when they had the new Pegasus. They had a couple flavors of the Pegasus. They had the 41, and I think they had the Plus. Is it the Premium? The Pegasus Premium or the Pegasus Plus? I can't remember the exact name. They had that one out there too. And I was like, I'm not doing this. I got nothing against the Pegasus line. Huge fan of the trail shoes. It's my favorite trail shoe by far. But I just didn't care. You know what I'm saying? But I did end up winning a pair that day, so that kind of worked out. But yeah, moving on. This right here, Kayano 31 Luxe colorway. Right? So be prepared to be underwhelmed, people, because this is going to be a color that you just saw 2 times already. Is it necessary to buy all 3 of these? Of course not, right? To anyone who might be asking, like, does he really have a reason to buy these? No. It's just, again, I saw the novablast and I thought that's pretty cool, so I bought that one first. Well, yeah, I bought that one first. Then I saw the Nimbus, and I was like, okay, that's something. But like the Kayano, I was like, okay, I'm getting that one. And so if I'm getting that one, well, then I may as well get the Nimbus and just round everything off. So here we go. This is going to be just looking these things over real quick, make sure everything looks fine, and it does, so that's cool. So Kayano 31 Luxe. Down across the bottom, looks very, not that one. Looks a lot like looks a whole lot like the Nimbus did, right? Looks a little bit wider, honestly, but it could be just my mind playing tricks on me. One of those things, you know? So I'll figure that out for sure later. But otherwise, standard outsole type of things going on. I think, yeah, they have the AHAR. There is a newer version of that is on I forget what they put that on, but it's on something, the AHAR low. I think it was on the Nimbus or the Novablast. Either way, up here, midsole wise, same foam that you have on the other one as far as like the Nimbus, the Flight Foam Blast Plus Eco. Over here, you do have the 4D guidance system thing, which is supposed to just kind of adjust overall as your foot is going over different terrain to kind of help you stay stable, because this is a stability-centric shoe, right? Which is where you get more of the stability than you get the actual cushion, right? So if you want to feel like you're sinking in with each step and it's all nice and bouncy and plush, don't buy these. If you want something that just feels like it's solid, it's still comfortable, but feels like more solid, more firm, that's where these come in. Upper wise, materials going on there. It's kind of like a wide knit sort of thing going on. It's super breathable. That's one thing that I did notice from the 30 to the 31. So it's a nice change, I will say that. Looking at the rest of this here, honestly, same decal style on here, right? A little bit of branding on the back. These remind me of basically a brown version of the Kayano 31 Platinum, right? And then on the tongue here, got a nice little satiny sort of feel on the top. Got some asics branding and all that good stuff. And then there's that same A down there that you have on both of these. So that's across the board on all 3 of the Luxes. And it's got the same sort of build in the back as the Nimbus does. The 31 stole that from the 26, I guess? 25, excuse me. The Nimbus 25 was the first one to do that, and then that's where this kind of became popular. And honestly, I was kind of thinking, like, when I first saw these pull tabs, I'm like, who even needs these, right? But I used one once just to see what it was all about, see how it worked. It's actually like really nice. And so now I can't talk down on it, you know, because it actually works out pretty well. Do I need it? Not really, but I use it because it's there and it makes it a little smoother. All right, let's show you guys this thing first. So Magic Speed 4, right? Now we're showing something different. Let's go ahead and open this thing up here. You got some extra like padding in the side of here, right? See that? These extra little 2 pieces of foam, not foam, but paper in there. The last one that I opened had those too. So I didn't put those on, the Kayano. They are a true to size fit. Everything that I said about the Nimbus basically applies to those. So if you heard that, I'm not going to repeat it. I've also done a Kayano 31 review already, so lots of details in there, and you can see them on the feet and whatnot. One other thing about the Nimbus, though. I wore a pair of Nimbus 25s the other day, and I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror. I cannot stand the way those things look. They just look so huge. I'm not the biggest guy in the world, so that doesn't really help. But man, this is a bad look. All right, so let's go ahead and make sure everything looks like it's fine on here. These are pretty cool. I do like this color. So I don't know when I'm going to break these out, but Monday would be a good day if maybe Monday. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, it's the Magic Speed 4. It's plated, right? It says internal carbon, right? Got that whole thing on there. But let's take a step back. Down there across the bottom, that's what things are looking like. Kind of reminds me of something that I've seen before. I can't think of what it would be. It's kind of drawing a blank, but you look at enough stuff, it all kind of runs together, honestly. And so then down in there, past that, you do see like the black part in there for that carbon, the carbon plate, right? So the whole idea behind the plates being that they kind of bend a little bit, and so then as you go through each step, it kind of springs back out and then kind of helps propel you forward, right? That's kind of dumbing it down in some ways. There's a little bit more of a technical explanation to it that a lot of people would give you, but just take the gist of it. Anyway, so you got that, and this is looking like it's going to be a 2-layered foam. I didn't really look into that before, but it looks like they have the flight foam turbo on the top, and so I'm guessing that this white layer is probably just like the standard like flight foam blast plus or something like that. I only assume that, right? That's how a lot of running shoes like this are made. They have 2 layers of different foams. Even the Glide Ride Max is like that, with the flight foam blast max on top and the blast plus eco on the bottom. So either way, that's what's going on down there. Looks kind of all right, at least to me, right? Upper wise, it's kind of similar to the Kayano that I just had up here in some ways. So that's what's going on there. On the side, this logo that they have on here, kind of see if it's going to focus at all. These laces might be throwing things off just a wee bit. But either way, so that's what it's looking like. It's not really focusing a whole lot. Or maybe it's just, yeah, it's not really focusing a whole lot. But either way, you got like the standard mesh stuff, and then you got this like plasticky thing laid over on top, which almost makes me wonder if it would affect the breathability, but ultimately it feels thin enough that probably not. It just makes it feel kind of stiff in some ways though, right? Which makes me question it at first. But I think it'll be okay, and that's going to be on both sides, right? So there you go, same thing. See, now it's kind of focusing a little bit more. So like I was saying, that's just going to be this big plasticky feeling overlay. So not bad. Back over to the front piece, kind of a similar design to the Novablast 5 with the little dip down in the top of the tongue, and then you got a little bit of the branding on there and all that stuff, right? So yeah, it actually reminds me a lot of the standard one, the wave teal colorway for the Novablast. And then on the inside, the tongue is stitched down a little bit to the inside to kind of stop it from moving around, like gusted or whatever they want to call it. Got a little asics action going on in there, same thing as on the other one. So all in all, that kind of sums it up everything, right? I'll have to do some digging about these because I read up on them whenever I was looking at buying them, like forever ago. But now that many moons have passed, many weeks have passed, I finally have them. And so it's kind of one of those things where I should like re-look at that. These don't really, there are certain shoes where you can just kind of like slip into them because like they're a little more relaxed, in the upper. Like the Novablast is not like that, but the Kayano and the Nimbus definitely are, right? And this is definitely also one of those ones where, unlike those latter two, you're probably going to have to unlace just a little bit to get these on nicely, right? You can't just slip into them, which is probably why they don't have that little pull tab on the back, because they're probably making the point like, hey, you're not going to just like slip right into these. But it's kind of like not really made for that anyway, so whatever. So they do feel, I'll have to check that later. Something like they feel like they might be high in the back, So like the heel might be like a good bit higher than the front. I don't know. I'm sitting down, so I can't really like accurately gauge that. It's just, I guess, just the way the shoe feels, maybe. But fit wise, this mesh, it's feeling fine, right? It feels a little more snug in some ways, you know, as far as just like not as movable, not as much mobility in there, or something like that. Just kind of has an odd sort of feeling. Not bad in any ways. Just after wearing these three other things that are really made for this like extra comfort and all, you can wiggle your toes in there to your heart's desire or whatever. But these, not so much, right? Just a little more restrictive. Not a big deal though. It's kind of common with stuff like this. It's still fine for me. I'm just saying that that is a difference that you might notice. But for me, as a person who really likes, say, the what was it, the Kensei Max, kind of reminds me of that, right? So I'm not complaining. I actually kind of like this. Just, you know, when you're doing these reviews and stuff, you just talk about things so people know what to expect. Because if you go into it, and I'm sure I missed details and stuff that people might want to know. It's one of those things. I'm sitting down, I'm just talking, and I'm just saying whatever comes to mind. And if I miss something, it happens. But try to get the stuff out there that seems like it would be useful to know, right? So now, let's see, let's jump in here. Got this bag. So this should be another one of those tank tops that I buy, because, you know, I buy a lot of Asics running shirts because I do primarily, like, outside of me, like, trying stuff out, my go-to is Asics, right? It's not anything special necessarily about that or whatever. It's the thing that's working for me, right? I know there are a lot of Brooks people out there. I get it. A lot of Saucony people out there. I get that too, right? Because they're all making some really good stuff. But the first things that I ran in lately that really like made me feel pretty good about it, as far as like performance wise, it was Asics stuff, right? Over the last couple of years. So I've just been kind of paying most attention to them. I've bought some other brands. You'll see those reviews trickling out after these, and some things are looking pretty good from Asics and Brooks and someone else that I bought some stuff from as well. Well, actually, no, it was just those two, but I bought a lot of stuff. So we'll see. We'll see. I still think that they'll be the winner, though, Asics. So standard tank top shirt, right? It kind of looks like a dress, which is unfortunate, the way I'm holding it. But you can tell if you catch from the side, it is like an actual tank top thing, right? I don't know what this design is for. I just saw it and I thought, maybe I do need something a little more colorful once in a while, you know? So let's go ahead and do that. And this is OI Limited Series 2, whatever that means. I don't know. But the design of it is basically like a lot of the other Actibreeze series that has come up lately. If you see the lines in there, you can kind of tell that. So I have like a yellow, like a neon greenish, yellowish one. Got the red one. Got that green one not too long ago. So it's one of those things that I'm into, right? And even though it's not really the season for it, I deal with the cold a little better than some. So they work out fine for me. But I do see a lot of people bundled up. So, and I also just don't get it, like how people are running in like these jackets and sweaters and stuff, right? It's just crazy to me. Okay, so this is some Brooks stuff, right? Are these? These both look very much the same. I guess like when one is asphalt and one is black, right? So I don't know. We'll see. Let's get these things opened up here real quick. See what's going on. Because it could have just been like the bag, the lighting, or something. So, like I said something the other day about like my aunt. She sent me some Asics or some Brooks running gear, but I didn't have a lot of Brooks running shoes, so I felt like I should buy some Brooks running shoes. But then I felt like I should also get like some pants to wear, like, because they're like running tights, so, or like compression pants sort of things, you know. I usually wear stuff like this over the pants until I take these off. Then I like run around and do whatever. So, okay, they do look a little better now as far as the difference goes. But yeah, they're both the same model. I saw them. They were on sale. They looked fine. They have zippers on the pockets, and that was the selling point for me. I like pants with zippers, right? So that's what happened there. All right, let's bring this last box on over here. And this will be the last thing that I have to talk about. But actually, no, it's not. I got to talk about Inheritance. I just came back from seeing that. It's a movie that just came out. I think it came out this week. I feel like it came out this week. I'm very sure because, yeah, because it came out, and I remember seeing it came out the same time as Flight Plan, or Flight Escape, Flight Risk. You know, that new movie about them being in the helicopter. So I said, well, let me see what's showing when, and I'll do whatever makes sense from there. Okay, so there's gonna be that. All right, we'll do the shirts first so I can get these things out of the way. What's this? 3, 4 of these things? I guess. I mean, it's good to have options, you know. Are these the same? I don't know. I don't know what's going on sometimes. So anyways, Brooks stuff, right? I have the pants, the running compression pants. I have some normal pants that I can just walk in, work out in, whatever. Need some shirts though. You can, I mean, I do run shirtless, right? Because it's more comfortable, but it's not always like acceptable to just like not have a shirt on, you know. So that's where this comes in. So there you go. Got a little asics, excuse me, a little Brooks thing on the front there, right? Standard t-shirt style, right? Lightweight, very lightweight. Feels pretty nice. About as light as this one here, right? So not as light, I don't think, but I'll figure that out later. But this right here is one of the Nike, was it Dry Fit ADV advanced shirts? These things are phenomenal. Got this one here, which is very much the same color as that last one, maybe even the same model. I don't know. I'll figure that out later. I just felt like I needed to have a couple things because I have 3, well, 4 if you count that pair of trail shoes over there. 4 pairs of Brooks shoes. You know, I do like green. I've said that many times before. This one does not have a logo on the front. I think it's on the bottom or something. Yeah, it's got that little tab down there. That's how they did it this time. So that is a different style. And this one, I guess, is going to be the same as the green one. Yeah, because there's a logo down there. It's kind of weird in a way. I'm so used to brands putting like these big logos on like the sleeves or something like that. This has nothing on it, which is, I like that. You know, it's just, it's weird to me in a way because I'm not used to seeing that. We'll do this box first because it's on top. This is the Hyperion Max 2, right? So when I did the find your shoe thing on the Brooks webpage, they just ask you some preferences about how your feet are, how you run, like how your gait or whatever, you know, all that nonsense. And then they ask you what kind of shoe do you want? Right? Do you want cushion or do you want a speed? So I answer all the questions and they're like, you should get the Hyperion. The Hyperion 2 would be a go-to for you, and the Hyperion Max should also be something to look into as well. So I, being the kind of guy I am, I bought both of them. The Hyperion 2 is that nightlife purple one that I showed you like a couple weeks ago. And this is just going to be the Max version, which is just more comfortable. That's what it's supposed to, that's how they made it sound anyway. So I guess before I go putting these on, I should probably do the review part, right? That makes sense. So right here, Brooks Hyperion Max, right? Not Hyperion Max 2, excuse me. That's what that looks like. Down there across the bottom, oh, that's very similar to a lot of the Asics things that I've been talking about here today. One of these anyways. Yeah, right. Very similar, right? This is the Nimbus, by the way. So anyways, got that going on. Standard stuff down there, right? Moving on up here, midsole wise, pretty thick. I'm not a huge fan of that, but sometimes it just makes sense. On the inside, that's going to focus, I don't know, DNA flash. So, and it says nitrogen injected. So like I was talking about with the Hyperion 2, they take the foam, they inject it with nitrogen and heat and water once they've made the foam or whatever. And then that is supposed to make the foam overall become more lighter, but more responsive and all the normal things that people say that they improved upon over the previous year, all that stuff, right? So that's how it's supposed to work out. Does it actually work? A lot of people say it does, right? But it's kind of sometimes like people might just be thinking that it's working, or sometimes they're just saying that because they want to believe it. I don't know. It could or it could actually really be a better thing. But ultimately, I always think that it's best to just do your own research and just put it on for yourself and see if you feel it. So I'll be doing that at some point. Either way, as far as the upper goes, that's an interesting feeling mesh. It because like it feels like it's gonna be like comfortable, but it also feels like it's a little stiff in some ways. So it's kind of weird there. But super open, super breathable, right? You can oh, okay. You kind of see down in there like all the flashlight coming through, right? Which is always nice. Sit this guy back over here with old Orange Cassidy. So that's what's going on there. Looks very loose, and I do like that, right? Because if you're going to be running around, it's a thing that you might want. That little Brooks logo over there. In case you missed that, you're not going to be missing that one for the most part. I like that on the Hyperion too, even though normally, like I talked about on those Kobe 11 Mamba Curials, didn't care for like the big oversized branding there, but here it works. I don't know. And it's gotten kind of like a blurred sort of thing to it, you know? So if you're running, it'll give you like the illusion that you're running even faster because it'll be so blurry. So you got that happening. Down on the inside, got the Brooks thing. As far as the tongue goes, it's kind of built like the, what was it, like the Nimbus. It's going to be like super stretchy and all that stuff. So I guess that might be more of like what these are kind of going against. Because sometimes when you look at like the prices of things, the Hyperion 2 felt and appeared a lot like the novablast. They even came in at the same price, if I recall correctly. Yeah, they even came in at the same 140. This, I don't remember what it came in at, but I feel like it's probably a little bit higher than that. Obviously, it's going to be higher than the standard Hyperion 2. $20 sounds fair, so I could say 160, and 165 is what a Nimbus 25, or excuse me, a Nimbus 27 costs. It's also the same price as the Kayano 31s, in case you were curious about that. The Luxe pairs come in at a $20 to $30 premium over that. I can't remember exactly. So either way, things are looking like they're pretty all right on these. Cool. I'm cool with it. The color, I mean, it's not bad, right? They didn't have as many options. See, it slipped right into this thing. It's also nice. It has like that little back end where you can just kind of slip right in. Didn't really talk about that, but it's a thing that I like. So these are feeling really good. Just off the upper alone, it feels, these might be the most comfortable feeling uppers that I've put on of all these shoes, which I don't know if that really says a lot to you or what, but it says a lot to me, right? Because I mean, I've sat here through 3, 4. This is the 5th pair. We'll see how number 6 holds up though. But yeah, so I do like that. Fit wise, they seem to feel exactly width-wise and length-wise as a lot of the other stuff. It does feel like you have a little bit more room, like length-wise, than some of these, but I don't think it's too much. I wouldn't say it's enough to like go down a half size. I feel like if you did, you'd probably not like how that played out for you. And then as far as like the side-to-side thing, like it, again, like having like these wider soles kind of is where that whole thing comes in, right? So I get it. I'm not always a fan of it, but I get it. So it does feel a little bit open from left to right in there, which is good. You know, you don't want anything like all rubbing up on your toes and stuff like that. So not a big deal. But yeah, I'm thinking this is pretty all right. True to size, I would suggest it. I truly would. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what these things actually feel like when I wear them later. Because for now they're feeling pretty good. So it just sucks, like, you know, there's only so many days in the week, right? And running does take, Jesus Christ. Are you seeing this? This thing is freaking huge. What is that? But yeah, running around a lot, it takes a lot out of you, you know? It's like you can do it every day, right? It's not like it isn't not doable. But you would just probably expect to not feel so great after a certain amount. So either way, getting around to wearing all these and like, you know, forming my opinions on them, it's going to take some time, right? Because I want to spend a few days with each pair and then maybe do some comparison, some comparing at the end. You know, it's a whole thing, right? But what is this? Is the Glycerin Max, the Glycerin 24, excuse me. Just came, well, no, when does that come out? Actually, no, it comes out on the first. The Glycerin 24 comes out on the first, along with the GTS version. GTS being go-to support, right? So it has like these guide rail technology in there that kind of helps keep your feet straight. If you're one of those people whose feet are often not straight when you're running, that's supposed to help with that. Either way, so this big freaking thing right here. Look at this, right? Where's something normal? I guess that's kind of normal, maybe. Yeah, there's a lot going on here because all these other shoes do all have big soles on them. But yeah, that's a lot, right? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but yeah, it was not expected. I don't know. I didn't look at these a whole lot before I bought them, I guess. Down across the bottom, down there, what you're looking at is the same sort of outsole style as you saw on mostly everything else here tonight, right? But more plain than the other ones, but hey, it is what it is. Moving on up here to the midsole and all that, right? So once again, you have the DNA. Oh, this is just DNA tuned. So not sure what that means. I'll have to look that up. But either way, you got a whole lot of midsole. A little bit of Brooks action going on the inside, just for a little bit of that logo action, right? As far as the upper goes, let's take this. I like these laces a lot. They're like these little ropey ones. Kind of reminds me of what is it? There's something that I saw recently that had similar laces, like a little bit thicker, but kind of had like a nice ropey look to them. I remember what that was. Anyways, down there, as far as like the upper and stuff goes, it feels pretty nice to the touch. It feels like it's going to be pretty good. It feels a little thicker than other stuff did, right? Not necessarily like a bad thing. You can have a thick knit and still be breathable, like the Kayano 31, right? So I'm not going to say anything about that until I really wear it, but it is a thing that you notice to the touch at least. As far as the lacing area goes and all that stuff, right? That's kind of what I was talking about. They're not super flat, not super round. They're kind of like Air Max Plus laces in a way. That's usually the comparison that I go with. And then down here on the middle, the tongue, it is a little thicker, right, than I'm used to, and it's a little thicker than I prefer. Kind of see that, right? So that kind of reminds me of, say, the Supernova Rise from Adidas, which had a very thick tongue, and it's one of the few, it might be the only thing I didn't like about it. I think so. I think that was the only complaint that I had. They still felt fine wearing them, but ultimately I was just like, ah. So either way, yeah, that's what's going on here. So maybe it'll still feel fine when I actually put them on. Brooks down on the inside on both. And so that's kind of all there is to say about that. Now, this color, let's talk about that for a second. There must have been slim pickings or something, because this is not that great. You know what I'm saying? But I wanted them for whatever reason, and so this was the color that I went with. It is nice that it will likely not get very dirty very easy. So I like that aspect of it. Always a big fan of that, because I don't clean my shoes. I just go out, do my best to avoid the mess, and hope for the best, right? It's been working out for a long time, right? I mean, for as long as I've been buying shoes, honestly. So yeah, this thick tongue, you do kind of feel it in there, right? Not bad, but it's just like noticeable. But I mean, I'm also thinking about it, right? So maybe when I'm actually like moving around and not thinking so much about that, it'll just kind of go away. But whatever, at least for now, it's a thing. And I definitely feel that I can, even sitting down, I definitely feel like high off the ground. I don't know how high this is. It's almost like those, what was it, the Adios Pro 4s in a way, where those just felt high too. They were also kind of wobbly in some ways because it's weird, but yeah, you definitely feel that height in there. It doesn't feel bad across though, like, so I feel like maybe the drop is overall lower. I don't know. I'll come back to a lot of this later, just mental notes for me more so. But yeah, it's feeling fine, fit wise, true to size. I've got no complaints about that, right? Not as much room lengthwise as the Hyperion Max 2, and widthwise, they're about the same as far as like, space on the outside of like your little toe and all that stuff. So no complaints there. Upper wise, it does feel like it is a little thicker. Like I was saying, it felt thick to the touch. So it doesn't feel like it's going to be hot, but you know, again, I'll see how it feels once I actually get out there running around in these and whatnot. But man, this is a whole lot of shoe, dude. So that, yeah, I'm gonna hear about this at work whenever these get broken out. Oh, one thing I didn't really mention on the outside here, this logo that they have, it feels weird. It's like nice. It's really frictiony, right? Really grippy there, like some sort. It's like some non-slip rubber that you'd put on a countertop, so like your glasses don't fall off. You know, I know that's a very specific thing, but I'm just saying that's kind of what it makes me think of. And it's quite thick, actually. I don't know if you can kind of see that down in there. Yeah, it's a pretty thick deal going on here. But all in all, they feel like they're going to work out okay, even if they don't work out as good as I was hoping, right? Or as well as I was hoping. But again, that's a problem for future Tristan. Not everything works out how I want it to. Sometimes things are better, sometimes things are worse. It's just what you get. That's why I'm trying all this stuff out, put my little opinion out there. Maybe it'll help somebody at some point. Every so often I hear back from someone and they say that it did. So, you know, you just gotta put the stuff out there and play the waiting game, right? It's kind of how people describe fishing to me, which I'm not a fisherman. I would never do that. It just reeks of boredom. Anyway, so I'm gonna do a quick recap over these things, and I'm gonna talk about inheritance, right? So we are going to start with what we started with. Up first, got this here. This was the, if you got any questions, go ahead and leave those somewhere on the screen and I'll get to you. This right here, this was the Novablast 5 in the Luxe colorway, right? Pretty decent, no complaints about it. Cool little brown. I thought it was going to be a little more shimmery from the pictures, but I guess I thought more like the logo itself was going to be like, you know, kind of how that's a little brighter. I kind of thought the upper would be a little brighter. I got no complaints or anything though. And then we moved on to this one right here. This is the Nimbus 27. Same thing, Luxe colorway, right? So pretty nice. Not from a distance, you might not even know that they were two different shoes unless you like really paid attention, because like, again, the back end gets a little bit different. And from there, pulled up the Kayano 31, right? Which, going by the Nimbus, is a little bit closer, right? That's where the differences start to kind of die down just a wee bit. But anyways, still very much the same. Again, one thing I'll add in here, if you're more of a stability guy, get the Kayano. If you want the cushion and the overall durability, well, let me say that. If you want the cushion, get these. If you want cushion, period, your choices will be between the Novablast and the Nimbus. Personal opinion, of course. The Novablast being a little bit more speedy feeling, a little bit more of a bounce and a little extra pep in your step. This one is just going to be there to give you that extra cushion over the long haul, right? So I do feel faster in the Novablast, but I feel more comfortable in the Nimbus, but I feel at home in the Kayano because I feel like stability is the thing to have. Hopefully that makes some amount of sense. Let's see. Peter Pan and the Neverland Nightmare was so good. Oh, that that was quite a treat, wasn't it? Moved on to this right here, the not the Meta Sky, Magic Speed 4. Magic Speed 4 right here. So pulled that guy up next. And then let's see, how am I gonna do this? I guess I'm gonna have to do these two just to hold these at the same time. Over here, moved on to the Hyperion Max 2. Very nice. Felt really good. Probably the most comfortable feeling upper that I had on all night. Big fan of that. And it feels like they're going to work out quite well. So I think the Brooks site was right to suggest these to me. And then moved on to this big boy over here, right? So that would be the Glycerin Max. So they do have a standard Glycerin 24 coming out in a couple days. You can get your pre-orders in now. They don't have a huge color selection, but they're out there. So there's that. These are what I ran through here. Put these all on the screen. So yeah, it's been a long night of sitting here talking about stuff, but now that's all over. Okay, yeah, and then I'm gonna do this a lot of this all again in the morning because I got to record the luxe reviews tomorrow, and I'll probably record these as well, the magic speeds. We'll see. I don't want to do too much all at once because it gets a little, because that as the recording session goes longer and longer, you care to sit here less and less, and that's when some of the details don't come out like they should, or don't come out at all. So, you got to find that balance. Either way, so that's everything. All right. Inheritance, right? I don't know if you've seen the trailers or whatever. Oh, the shoe part is all done, right? So if you were like just a shoe person just here for that, like you're good. You can head on out, watch TNA. That should be coming on in 2 minutes, right? Go see the fallout from Genesis this weekend. Got a new world champ, so that's cool, right? All right, so let's see. Inheritance, right? I saw the trailers during various movies that I've gone to over the last like month or two, right? And it didn't look like anything amazing. It's like, okay, this girl and like she's trying to help her dad like get some information or something. That's how the trailer came up. Like she's trying to help him get information, and she's gonna like spy on people for him and help him do his stuff, right? There's a little bit more to it as you're watching it. It starts to like kind of unfold, and honestly, like while entertaining enough to like not be bored, right? It wasn't anything like really new, and it was kind of predictable in some ways. Like I'm not much of like predicting where movies are going. I usually just end up watching them and just kind of like not thinking about anything. It's like, oh, that's weird. What's he gonna do now? Then like something happens, and then when it's all said and done, I'm like, you know what? Isn't that the same exact thing that happened in this other movie, right? So I usually just don't think anything about it. I'm just seeing stuff happen, but this one it was kind of hard not to for some reason. I'm just watching, and I'm like, oh, I bet you this is what's going to be going on. And then it was, right? I mean, it's still entertaining, even if like you have some idea of where it's going. It's not like you run out and watch it right now entertaining. It's more of like whenever it's freely available and you are like, if you're say like me, if I'm like sitting around like doing my last edits and making thumbnails and stuff, like it'd be something to have on in the background, right? Because you don't need to give it your full attention to follow it, which is nice because I don't like having to think too much and focus too much. So it doesn't take too much of your attention to like focus on, and you can still keep it in the background and like follow along just fine. So it worked out all right. And it's also like, to me, while good-ish, not good enough to like, hey, I'm gonna not do anything else and just focus on this. Oh no, definitely not that. But yeah, all in all, I mean, I would suggest watching it just like maybe in the situation kind of like I just described, right? So there's that. And tomorrow I'll be seeing, I just talked about it a second ago, Flight Risk. I think it's called Flight Risk, right? Where they're in the helicopter and like the dude has killed some dude, and I don't know, I guess it's like Speed, but in a helicopter because like, they're all locked in here and like there's this thing going on and they're trying to deal with it. So that one should be pretty entertaining, even if a bit like over the top and ridiculous. So looking forward to that kind of. And after that, I guess Love Hurts looks entertaining. So that's on the agenda. And Hard Eyes looks awful, but I want to see it. So that's happening too. But that's like a ways out. So there you go. There's that. There's my thoughts on Inheritance. Check it out at some point when you can get to it without having to pay too much for it. I have an AMC membership, so $26 a month. I can watch all the movies I want. Well, 3 a week, which is more than enough. So I do as much movie watching as possible just to make sure I'm getting the most out of my money. So there we go. There's that. Unless anybody has any questions or whatever, which it's looking like there won't be, this will be your time to like get those out there and all that good stuff. Otherwise, I'm going to close this thing out so I can move on and eat dinner because that sounds fantastic. And I got to take some pictures. I think we're going to do the pictures tonight for these shoe reviews. That'll leave me some extra time in the morning to do the actual review. From me to you, have a nice rest of your day or rest of your night, wherever you are. I have a bunch of stuff to do and a big old mess to clean up here because there are card packets and shoes and shirts and pants littered throughout this floor. And I'm not okay with it because it just looks awful. So I'm going to deal with that. Thanks for stopping in and listening to my ramblings and whatnot, but please find something better to do with your time now. Later, people.